I'm Xtoller, and this video is taking an even closer look at the mechanics of mana regen. Let's get started. We're going to take a look at how quickly mana increases when you're medding, mana regen ticks including patterns that exist, tick timers which are driving everything in mana regen, real numbers on mana regen, some simple medding tricks, and a look if it's worth it to med during combat. This chart shows the mana ticks when medding from 0 to 431 mana with no mana regen buffs. Variable ticks in blue ramp up quickly even within the first 15 to 20 seconds, and they keep increasing the entire time you're medding. Even on the last variable tick at 112 seconds, it was still increasing. Based on this rate of increase, you can see why it's easy to med to full within just a minute or two of downtime. In another 60 seconds, I would have gained an additional 220 mana. And just to reiterate, this is without any mana regen buffs. The constant tick is the framework of my analysis. It's always the same amount on the same 5-second interval, but there's a lot more going on with the variable tick. When medding with no aggro, it ticks every 3 seconds, giving you 5 ticks in 15 seconds. Out of combat, the mana amount increases following a pattern. It increases 3 ticks, stays the same for 2, and then restarts the pattern. With aggro, the variable tick is different, ticking every 3 or 6 seconds. It will tick 3 times in 15 seconds. This timing follows a pattern that has longer intervals between ticks on a 3-tick pattern. When you meditate, the amount of time until you get the first tick is based on the tick timers. They are always ticking in the background. There is a 3 and a 5-second tick timer, and it controls the mana regen for the constant and variable tick. Depending on where the timers are when you meditate, you may get a mana tick immediately, or you could wait as long as 5 seconds depending on if you have aggro or not. The amount of ticks you get in a short time, such as medding in battle, depends on your luck with these timers, but you can work around them a bit. Let's take a quick look at some real numbers from medding. You can come back and take a closer look later. Both of these datasets are medding with no aggro, and while they started out with different amounts, they were the same at 17 seconds. And in this example, regen reduction from aggro is very evident. It's getting half the mana regen in 17 seconds compared to the regen with no aggro. This final overlay gives all the sessions together, including sessions I did with Whisper of Tysire and Whisper of Morale. Here's a couple simple medding tricks. If you're used to watching your mana, you get a feel for the pattern. Stretching out combat mana regen an extra second or two can net you a couple extra mana, which, as we discussed earlier, can add up, especially during those close fights when you're low on mana. If you're medding in combat, you can cast an instant or even 1-second spell, then quickly sit back down and not miss any constant ticks. Of course, it will reset your variable timer, but the variable timer doesn't matter in battle. Or does it? Should I med during battle? Overall, I'd say yes, but I haven't investigated how it compares to the cleric's melee mana regen ability. As numbers have shown, medding with aggro returns a decent amount of mana, enough for another heal or mesmerize in tight situations, and it's definitely good for handling mez attacks for enchanters. But the big advantage to medding in battle comes at the end of the fight. If you're medding and your aggro drops, the amount of mana you gain on the variable tick is going to jump. Instead of giving 1 mana per tick, it jumps up to a higher amount based on how long you've been medding. Not just medding since the end of combat, but the whole time, including during the fight. Taking advantage of this mechanic can help a lot with maintaining mana in demanding situations. This chart shows 25 seconds of medding during a fight, then aggro drops, and it has 25 seconds of medding after the fight. This is continuous medding without standing up. At the 28-second mark, the first variable tick that is not in combat jumps up to 6 mana. This is based on the time that I started medding in combat, and once combat ends, it jumps up to that level. Some conclusions from all of this. If you're in a group and struggling to keep up your mana, being disciplined in your out-of-combat mana regen is critical. If you sit to med once battle is done, stay there. Don't hop up a lot and check for loot. If your mana is lacking, you need to prioritize the out-of-combat regen. Exactly when you sit to meditate doesn't matter that much if you have time. The numbers average out. How long you meditate can matter if you're in a long fight or you're mesmerizing 3 or more mobs. Situations where every drop of mana matters. If you can stretch and meditate 1 to 2 seconds to get some more ticks, it could make a difference in the fight. Enchanter Mana Regen is strongest as a combat buff. It's helpful out of combat, but it's not critical. In combat is where it makes the biggest difference. One last thing. I've seen some interesting things with the variable ticks. If you go back and look at that first chart I put up, there's 6 seconds from the med start until I get my first variable tick. Why didn't I get the variable tick 3 seconds after the med start, since the variable tick is on a 3-second timer? But that missing variable tick doesn't occur in all of my testing. Sometimes I'm getting that variable tick in the first few seconds, and sometimes I'm not. So what's the difference and why is this happening? I'm not sure, but I'm going to continue to investigate. Like this video if you found it helpful, and have fun in Terminus.